Thursday started off as a great day for Raffy Devers. Hits a home run, drives in a couple of runs. He's really, kind of found his form. The Red Sox take the series from the Rangers after dropping the first one, and now they go out on the road with a little bit of momentum. And then there was this atomic bomb set off in the Red Sox clubhouse before they left for Kansas City. Because for the first time all week, Raffy Devers had to talk to the media. Since Tristan Casas got hurt, he has been turning down interview requests because he knows what question is coming. And now the time has finally come for him to address it. He obviously talked through a translator and said, quote, "I know I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play every single position out there. In spring training, they talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove," which we have heard from other sources. He goes on to say, "I wasn't going to play another position other than DH. Right now, I don't think it would be an appropriate decision by them to ask me to play another position." Goes on to say, talking about Breslow, goes on to talk about the situation. He said, quote, "They told me that I'm a little hard-headed, but they already asked me to change positions once. This time, I don't think I can be as flexible. I don't feel they stayed true to their word. They told me I was going to play this position, DH. Now they're going back on that." And on Breslow, he said, he played ball, talking about Craig Breslow, the general manager. "I would think he knows that changing positions isn't easy. They put me in this situation. They told me they didn't want to play any other positions." So now this is a war between Raffy Devers and the front office, and potentially Raffy Devers and his manager, Alex Cora, and the front office. What he is telling you is, A, the Red Sox lied to him, which he's basically said before, and B, he's not going to play first base. The Red Sox desperately need a first baseman, a guy who can play every day there, and preferably one that's already on their major league roster so that they could call up one, if not both, of their top prospects. Raffy Devers, the face of this team, the highest paid player on the team, in terms of the length of the contract, $30 million a year, is telling you, no, I am not going to do that. What do you expect me to play every position out there? Because in reality, in 7 years in the major leagues, almost 8, Raffy Devers has been asked to play 2 positions, real positions. He came up as a third baseman. He's now been asked to play first base. They switched him to DH, which, let's be honest, isn't really a position. It's already a position he was doing, hitting. He's not learning a new position. He's learning a bit of a new process, but he's not learning a new position. And now he's sitting out here saying, why would they expect me to do that? And the problem I have with this is, A, he's certainly not the only player they asked to do this. He's probably their best option because of his body type and the fact that he's played the other corner of the infield before, and that they could plug in anybody to DH. They can't just plug in anybody to play first base. It's the one that makes the most sense in terms of his body type and what he's already doing and what he's already giving the team. But he's not the only one they've asked, I'm sure. It's just the best fit. And so for him to say no as the best fit, like any way you slice that, that's not helping the team. You can say, oh, well, this isn't fair to ask him to do this. And if you had this at your job, he's not helping the team. This is anti-team. He's not only not helping them, but now he's attacking the GM. And rarely do I have sympathy for general managers, but that is what's happening here. Raffy Devers is the most, it's the best fit at first base. I know it's not the best fit in the world, but for this team, it's the best fit at first base, and he is refusing to do it. You are paying him $30 million a year, and he's telling you, I'm not going to do what's best for the team. I'm going to do what's best for Rafael Devers. And now a lot of Red Sox fans have rushed to defend him because of the incident in spring training and Craig Breslow allegedly telling him that he was going to play third base and that they weren't going after Alex Bregman. I still do find that hard to believe because it was pretty public, the whole Bregman and Arenado chase for a couple of months there. It would need Rafael Devers to be really naive to not think they were bringing in a third baseman. But if that's the way you want to go, that's the way you want to talk about it. Like, okay, fine. He was lied to. But this kind of stuff happens all the time. And break glass in case of emergency situations happen all the time, which is what has happened with the Red Sox right here. Their first base, they didn't count for their first baseman to be out for the season in the first week in May, the first day in May. They weren't counting on that. And so when your team needs you to step up, you should be stepping up, especially if you're the face of that team. And I saw a thread on Twitter yesterday, and it was a really good one. Some might find it harsh, but I thought it was really good. It was about all these players, these superstar players who have stepped up and made position changes when their team needed it. Bryce Harper playing first base for the Philadelphia Phillies. Guess what? He didn't come up a third baseman, if you can believe that. Hanley Ramirez played first base for this team. Hanley Ramirez. Not exactly like, oh, yeah, team first guy, Hanley Ramirez. They traded for Kyle Schwarber in the middle of a pennant run in 2021. He had never played first base. And you know what he did? They needed him to play first base. He played first base. Mike Napoli was a catcher. Became a World Series champion as a first baseman. Mookie Betts came up as a shortstop and a second baseman. He ends up playing right field, becoming a platinum glover and becoming the best player in baseball on the best team in baseball. Victor Martinez came up as a catcher, played first base. This is from Sammy James, by the way. I found it on Twitter, obviously. Fernando Tatis flips between the infield and the outfield. Like, it happens all the time, and yet we're like, well, Raffy Devers can't do it because they're asking him to do something that's unfair. They're asking him to play first base in the middle of May. It's not like they're asking everyone else, and the solution is, oh, why don't you get Roman Anthony to do it? Because he's coming up, and it will get him a spot in the major leagues. And I understand that. But it's like, okay, if we're looking at it through a vacuum here, you've got a guy who's played corner infield in the major leagues for 7 years, and it's like sacrilege to ask him to play first base. But the guy who's come up as a 20-year-old and has come up as an outfielder, we can just put him at first base to start his major league career. How does that logic make sense? How is one crazier than how is the Raffy Devers one crazier than the Roman Anthony one? I don't understand that. And I just don't have any sympathy for a guy making $30 million a year when they're asking you to go out there and play probably the easiest position to learn in the field. Like to learn and pick up in the middle of the season. I'm not saying it's just wicked easy. Everyone can just pick up a glove and do it. But you know, he's not being asked to play shortstop. I know he made a crack about, if the outfielder gets hurt, they'll ask me to play there too. No, they won't. Because they have a guy in Roman Anthony who's ready to come up and play in the outfield. And then I see people just dragging Craig Breslow, not because of the supposed lying in spring training, but because, he didn't have any depth. This is Breslow's fault. He didn't have a roster construction because he didn't have any depth at first base. And so now you have to ask Raffy Devers to play first base. To which I say, what are you talking about? They have Romy Gonzalez. They have Abraham Toro. That's depth. You had 2 extra first basemen. But they're not guys who are going to play 120 games for you. They're not good enough for that, but they are depth. But that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy who is to come in and play first base every day for what's supposed to be a playoff team. And the face of your franchise is not willing to do that. Meanwhile, the guy you brought in to play third base, Alex Bregman, was ready to switch to second. And he said, look, I'm just happy to be on this team. I'm happy to be Raffy Devers' teammate. Like, which guy would you rather have in the locker room? I know Raffy's won a World Series. Bregman's won 2. He's been to the ALCS every year of his career except for 1. He's been in the postseason every single year of his career. And he's the one saying, yeah, I'll do it. I'll switch positions. I'm here to do what's best for the team. Where did we lose our way? Where that became, where that was not the mindset that we wanted our star players to have. Now we're babying Raffy Devers, who's calling out his general manager to the entire media after ducking them for days. and not facing the questions. And now it's everybody else's fault but Raffy Devers. Like, I don't have sympathy for that. I'm sorry. We've seen it time and time again with this organization. Guys who have been superstars at point, Hanley Ramirez had won a batting title in his career. Kyle Schwarber was in his prime, goes on to, lead the league in homers the next year. And they were willing to do this. They were willing to move positions. JD Martinez could barely move, and he was willing to play outfield in 2021 because they needed him to. But yet the only guy that isn't allowed to do that is Raffy Devers. Oh, God. Why? No, why would we ask Raffy Devers to switch positions? It's not like he's in a contract year. He doesn't have any extra value. I said this about, switching off a third base to DH a couple months ago. It's not like he has any value, like he's losing value by playing a different position. He's got his contract. He's got his career contract here. He's making $30 million a year. You have committed as much as you can, as much as you have for anybody else in that clubhouse. You're saying, Raffy, you are our franchise guy. Who cares what we said about third base? We're showing it to you in the fucking paychecks you get every month. You are our franchise guy. And what this has shown us is that he cares more about Raffy Devers and looking bad at first base than he does about helping his team win baseball games. And yes, maybe that makes me old school, but I've got a problem with that. And this is the second time he's whined and bitched and moaned about having to do what's best for the team. I don't know where we as fans lost our way, but that used to mean something. That used to make people pissed off that they weren't going to help out the team, that they were in it for themselves. But I guess, I guess that's not the thing anymore. I guess that's not how we feel. Now we're going to blame the GM for not having depth guys, even though that's all they have right now are depth guys. They don't have starting guys because their starter got hurt. It's ridiculous. And Raffy Devers is acting like an absolute child about this. And we'll see who's kind of left out there to the wolves, man. At this point, I'm still on the Christian Campbell playing first base train here. That way you can get both of your prospects up. You can get both Anthony and Meyer up. And Campbell, you're clearly not really 100% committed to playing him at one position anyway. You're throwing him out in center field where he doesn't really know a lot. He's barely a second baseman. And he's been pretty solid there, but you're committed to moving him around anyway, then all right, then you have a hole at first base. But the way Raffy Devers has responded to this, and the way he responded to the third base thing and the DH thing, like, that's not a leader, man. That's not a guy who should be the face of your franchise. If I'm seeing that and Bregman continues to hit the way he does, I would be like pissing my pants at night if I'm Craig Breslow that Alex Bregman's going to opt out, because that's clearly a leader on your team. That is clearly the leader in your clubhouse right now. Because Raffy Devers is not that. He's still a damn good player. He's a damn good hitter, and from the bat he gives you, I don't want to trade him, but he's not a leader. He's been anything but. And I don't want to trade Raffy Devers, but you've got to imagine, by the way, that could be on the table. He was already close to asking for a trade from this third base fiasco. He left spring training, again, like a child, pouting in the corner, left spring training, and then was about to ask for a trade by all reports that we heard in March. And now he's even more pissed off. You don't think he's going to ask for a trade now? The guy he doesn't want to make the sacrifice. It's a 162 game season. They are professional athletes. The teams that win make sacrifices. And it is really damning, and it's a hell of a red flag when your best player, your franchise face, does not want to make that sacrifice. And that's how it's going to lead to a situation where, even though Raffy Devers is still the face of the franchise, he's not going to be a fan favorite here. He's not going to be a fan favorite. It's going to be Bregman for playing well and saying the right things. It's going to be Christian Campbell for playing well and saying the right things. It's going to be, go up and down the list. Duran as a guy who kind of popped out of nowhere and is saying the right things. Wilyer Abreu, who is saying the right things and doing the right, like Raffy Devers doesn't fit into that right now. He's not saying the right things. And he's not acting the way a leader is supposed to act. And I just couldn't believe this tirade yesterday, man. He's just acting like such a child. And I don't know where we lost our way along the way, because I see so many Red Sox fans just like rushing to defend this guy who's making $30 million a year and is actively not trying to help his own team. It's ridiculous to me. But what is it to you? Let me know in the comments section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and helps me keep my job of bringing you nothing but Boston sports content 5 days a week. Check out the other videos on the channel on YouTube, talking the Red Sox and all the other Boston sports teams. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts.